I'm Mark, Assistant Principal at Scoresby Secondary College. I've been a timetabler and daily organiser on and off for about 20 years, mainly in the independent sector, but now in the state education system. Faultless. Griddle did all the hard work for me by converting the data into Griddle, so it was ready to use. The other thing I found about the transferring process was the teams. The Griddle was available all the time. They'd share a screen, they'd show me what I needed to do, etc. I can't think of a time when I contacted Griddle where they weren't available to walk me through the next step. The importing, yes, again, Griddle did it for me. I put the data into an Excel sheet and somehow it just turned up in Griddle, and now I never have to worry about it again. So sure, I add new students every year, which I know how to do, but most of the work was done by Griddle. So absolutely been fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to next year. As simple as pushing a button, or clicking a button I should say, and all my data rolls over to the next calendar year. Yeah, could not be any easier. One button push. We had started the timetabling process, so I wasn't given all someone else did a lot of the information for me on sheets of paper, etc., which was very clunky. I would say in defense of Griddle that the program is really intuitive, and I wish we had have used it from the start. So the line creation, etc., that we had done, and I can already see that Griddle was a lot more effective at that. And that was out of my control. I started here. I took over the timetable late last year, so it had already been started by two people that unfortunately had no timetabling experience. So I inherited a bit of a mess, and they wanted to keep that mess, but I can see how much more effective Griddle would be. And I have timetabled with Griddle will be my fourth package, and I can clearly see that Griddle is far superior to any other. Particularly, it's very intuitive. That would be, for anyone that's considering Griddle that hasn't timetabled, you will not get a more intuitive program. Everything makes sense. So from spaces to classes, the titles that Griddle have, they've put a lot of thought into making it, for someone who's new to timetabling, it's just logical. Other packages aren't so logical until you learn the jargon, and I'd say that's a big advantage of Griddle as well. The first thing I'd say is that the algorithms have blown me away, and I'm not just saying that to pump Griddle up. I built timetables in the past. I built them on paper, so I had to do second semester last year on paper, and you can see whether you think a timetable is going to work. If you've timetabled on paper, if you get that side of conceptually that side, you can see whether it's going to work or not. This year, given that I was being given the data very late, a week before Christmas, and looking some of how people had built the timetable, I thought this just won't work, and I couldn't conceptually see how it could work. And I know in my previous software packages, I don't believe there would have been a solution. And I'm not being arrogant, I just think I've been doing it for 20 years, so I think I get how things fall together. I said that to Moira, who actually was fantastic, came out and helped me, and she said leave it with me. And she rang me about an hour later and said she'd solved it, and there was problems there I just couldn't believe could be solved. So the power of the algorithm, and I know Griddle worked with the AI section, artificial intelligence section from Deakin. I've never seen anything like it. I was blown away when she rang me and said, we've got a timetable. Could not believe it. I thought she would say, no, you're gonna have to swap teachers, you're gonna have to start again. Yeah. I'd also say that the previous packages I've worked with haven't been cloud-based, and you can be sold that simple, that you just take things home on a USB. Most schools want things on your network. So you can say, yes, I can save the timetable onto a USB and go home and work on it and come back and load it back on the network. And that sounds fantastic, but any people out there that are going to start timetabling, you have some late nights, you have some times when you're really tired. The last thing you want to be trying to remember is, have you saved it on the USB? Are you transferring the right version of that you've worked on back onto your school's network? And I can promise you that if you don't, that will cause a considerable amount of problems for you. Being web-based, it's just perfect. I can go home and work on it. I can just log in at home. I can log in at school. Other people at the same time. So the other AP and the Prin have access to it, so they can go on and be working at the same time. I can be working on daily org while the AP's having a look at excursions or whatever we're working on. So the fact that it's web-based, I cannot speak highly enough. And again, As I've mentioned, I've worked on programs that aren't web-based or cloud-based, as we probably should call it, and that does cause considerable problems, particularly as only one user can use it at a time, because if I've used it and my AP, the other AP is using two different USBs, which is the correct program that you're trying to upload on the network, so that causes grief when only one person can use the program at a time. So that would be the other main reason I would recommend Griddle, is because it is cloud-based. Better than anything I've experienced in the past. The teacher satisfaction, their teachers are really happy. You've been able to give all the part-time teachers the days off that they've needed, etc., that they've asked for. The program allows you to put in specific days. So given we have some parents here that want specific days for childcare, grandparents minding the children, etc., we've been able to do that, where other part-timers have just wanted, they didn't care too much about which day they had off, they just wanted a day off, so a floating day. The program's actually able to cope with that, where my previous experience with other programs, you've really had to try to narrow that down so that the algorithms couldn't cope, where that's what I've been impressed again. I know I've mentioned it, but the algorithms of this program, the AI that's built it, is phenomenal. The fact that every single part-timer here has got the day off that they wanted, which I haven't seen before. I've always, as the timetabler/daily org, I've had to run around and negotiate with part-timers. You want a Tuesday off, can we do Wednesday? Or you're gonna have to drop this class. If you want to teach that senior class, that Year 12 class, then you can't have Monday off. None of that. Every request that Moira worked through with me, Griddle was able to achieve, so I cannot speak highly enough of it from a part-timer's point of view. And the full-timers, we're full-time, so we just work full-time, so yeah, it's a good spread for that as well. Not too many teachers have got 5 lessons. We have 5 lessons today, 5 on one day and 1 the next. The program's managed to give a very good spread for full-timers as well. So yes, I'd recommend it from a staff satisfaction point of view. We've had to have a lot of changes here. We've had 4 staff leave this term, and it's unfortunate, but for different reasons they've left middle of the term, different subject combinations. So yes, I've been with Griddle support, and I've worked with Mitch on this a bit through Google Teams. It's been fantastic. It's been really easy. He showed me you just need to do this, gives me the instructions, or he sends me an email, and it's just logical. So I think, yeah, generally it's been via email, in fairness to how easy the program is to use. A couple of times there's been a few tricky ones, and Mitch or Griddle will just jump onto Teams and put the share screen up and say, I'd click here, do this and whatever, give me the instructions, walk me through it. So the next time that happens, I can do it myself. So the other thing I would like to add to how easy it is to build the timetable or maintain the timetable. With the staff leaving, we have 3 teachers on our Year 7 English, which is 2 classes. We like to put 3 teachers on there. With one of the teachers leaving, it just has not been possible to put a permanent 3rd teacher on there. The beauty about the program is it allows you to split teachers. So I have, for the 10 lessons, as for the 3rd teacher, I have 3 teachers split over those 10. I have my 2 permanent teachers going, and I have 3 other teachers as the additional support moving around the room. The program's really easy, that you can just tick a box that says split, and it allows you just to split the teachers in, and that is fantastic. Again, you're almost at that stage. In previous packages, it's almost a soft rebuild. This is just a tick a box exercise. I tick split class, it allows me to slot the teachers in, which is fantastic. In other situations where I've needed to slot one teacher for one teacher, it could not be any easier. You just click one button, and then it just offers you to change it for all the other 8 lessons, and it's just like, yep, tick, confirm. It will also let you know if there's clashes. So again, that's why we needed to do the split teacher for the Year 7 English, because the program told me, I obviously could see it myself, but the backup is that the program says, no, this is a clash. Great, let's split that and put a different teacher in. So whoever invented Griddle clearly has been a timetabler in the past, has understood the problems with different packages and gone, let's make this simple. Let's allow a split teacher. Let's allow a split room. These sorts of things that are intuitive to the program. First and foremost, it's allowed me to assign teachers more equitably. That then clearly helps you financially as well. So the program, it takes, I wouldn't say a little bit to set up. You need a little bit of work for the first time to set up the daily org. Once you have done that, it is absolutely worth the effort. I see that now, and I can see what the program's trying to do. So when you need to put in the staff minutes, etc., where the staff are underloaded for minutes, etc., the program looks after it. So you can put a staff member on for 2 lunch duties instead if they're 1 period under, and it just calculates the minutes for you all along. So from a financial point of view, the reports it offers me as well to keep on top of my budgets, etc. It's, again, as I've previously said, it's just really intuitive. And that's what I'd say again, whoever has come up with the concept of the daily org has been a daily organizer and gone, in previous packages, this works, this doesn't. What do I want as a daily organizer? For daily organizers out there, I know the pressure we're under when the phone starts ringing, we're rushing, etc. This program is just intuitive for that. So a person comes up, you click it, keeps it, if you want to keep it there, it lets you fill that person. Sometimes I like to go back to a different section because I like to fill down by period, depending on what I want to do. Because the screen offers you the split screen use, you can see which staff you've got in advance. So it makes it, yeah. For me, I found it saved me time, and particularly under the pressure. So we like to get our extras out by 7:30 in the morning. People have to ring in by 7:30. I like to get them out by 10 minutes later. I can do that. Clearly I've set some things up in the background, but the program, the ability just to click, drag, all those sorts of things has been as good as I've ever, well, actually has been better than anything I've ever worked with. It's been just perfect. Our administration enters things into Compass for excursions, camps, etc., and that can just be pushed into daily org. I can just grab what I want from that, so I don't have to worry about any of that data entry where in the past everything would be double handled. The administration or whoever, whether it's me, whoever, you need to enter everything into your equivalent of Compass, yeah, and then you need to re-enter that into a timetable package. It's just a mouse click, there it is. I open it up and I click a mouse click again, bang, there's the data, everything I need. So could not be simpler. And really does save that double handling. So we're quite a small school, but I've worked in a lot larger schools, and it's exactly the same principle. The difference being that in a larger school, you've got more camps, more excursions, more incursions, yeah, and that would be, this will just save you hours and hours and hours. It also saves double handling, and that's where mistakes occur, and we forget that. So if you use in a different system where someone comes along and goes, here's a camp, here's a staff on it, you're entering it again, someone's already entered it, that's where handling errors occur. So it's entered once, dragged across, a lot easier. So speak very highly of it. This is my 4th timetabling package in timetabling on and off for 20 years. This is absolutely by far superior to anything I've used. The last package I used, and I won't mention names, but that would be probably the most popular one in the state I'm in Victoria. This blows that out of the water. And I think it's that timetablers, we get stuck in reluctance to change. We're using something, we think that's the best product. I can promise you it's not. I can promise you Griddle is. You can hunt me down, you can ask me questions, I promise I will say this. I am not being paid to do this. I would say that Griddle is absolutely superior for 2 reasons. One, the people that came up with the package have actually been smart and actually made it user-friendly. And if you're using the popular package that I'm talking about, that is not user-friendly. So Griddle is really intuitive, cannot speak highly enough of that. If you haven't timetabled before, use Griddle because it's like timetabling for dummies. It's just brilliant. It's just a really simple, intuitive program to use. The other thing I'd say where Griddle, in my experience, blows it out of anything else out of the water is the algorithms it uses, the engine. And I have mentioned, and not being arrogant, I looked at the timetable, the problems that I threw at Griddle a week before Christmas. That's when we started doing the timetable. I thought there's no way we'll be able to solve this without changing staffing, rooms, part-time days off, etc. And when Moira rang me 2 hours later and said, oh, we've got a timetable for you, I was blown away. I really didn't think that would be achievable. So could not speak highly enough for Griddle. And as I've mentioned, I'm not being paid. We pay to use Griddle like anyone else would do. We pay the annual package, etc., etc. So yes, that's why I'm happy to speak on behalf of Griddle.